And we're back like we never left. We're back, we're back, we're back, we're back. You know, I was really contemplating whether I wanted to talk about this movie or not. I was heavily contemplating whether or not I wanted to talk about this film, but I am definitely happy to be here. If you are just joining us, we are discussing 28 years later, and if you are rejoining us from the Ironheart Live, we are definitely happy to have you and appreciate you being in the house. Ashley, how are you feeling tonight?
I feel good. I'm ready to get into it. Let's talk 28 years later, but I'm doing good. Ready to get into it.
Definitely not going to waste any time. Be sure to hit that like button if you are watching this on the replay. Leave a comment about our commentary and maybe what you thought about the film. Y'all know we ain't belaboring no points. Ashley, it's just you.
Ugh,
Girl, what were your overall thoughts?
hated it. I did not enjoy this film. I did not enjoy this at all. And y'all know I'm not a horror. I say this, I don't know why I feel like I need to give this obligatory statement every single time we talk about a horror movie. I am not a horror girly, all right? I've just recently been traversing these horror streets, but I will tell you this, that we just not too long ago watched 28 Days Later, then 28 Weeks Later, which was actually my favorite movie in the franchise. And what they did in those two films, whether you liked them per se in terms of a narrative, because it is a zombie movie, they told a succinct and horrifying story. Like that's what they did extremely well. With Killian Murphy in 28 Days Later, you're like, damn it, with his micropene, he is out here just trying to survive. You felt the raw fear of it all. Like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna make it? What am I gonna do? Even in the next one, what was that, Weeks Later,
Mhm.
we get, this crazy family and all that, but you're immediately hooked because it's the story of this family of survival. And then everything turns because the dad gets, infected. And you're still kind of like, hoping that these people are going to make it. Baby, I didn't give a damn about Mickey, Nicky, his daddy, or his crazy mama. I didn't care about anybody in 28 years later. I hated the overtures and the scores. I hated those raggedy flashbacks to what felt like Nazi Germany. I hated so much about this movie, Tyra. I can't even compare it because it doesn't even feel like the same franchise to me. This felt like a complete departure from anything that I saw in the first two. I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm off my
Dang,
soapbox.
Ashley, tell us how you really feel. And
Sure.
thank you, Critical Thinker, who said, Tyra, your video is not running. If it's not, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know, we just saw it and the audience did, but we're here. Just let us know at this point now, Critical, if you can hear and see us okay, and if my images are popping up, please. Um, I am a horror girly, very much so. And this was so highly anticipated. In the horror community, we have been waiting patiently for this movie, and it's here, and I'm devastated. Oh no, I'm devastated. I was a little disappointed. There were so many missed opportunities as far as the directions that I thought we were gonna go. And it's like we went out of our way to turn this franchise into something else. And I'll get into why I feel like they decided to do that. But this was a disappointment. Everything that I loved, especially about that first film, there were traces of it here, but this definitely doesn't fit, snugly into the franchise. This feels like a different film.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it for what, maybe 20 minutes 20 minutes maybe, but the rest of the film, they definitely subverted expectations, but I don't know if it was like in a great way. I was like, why are we here? What are we doing? Well, why was that choice made? I don't know. I'm like, I know my expectations weren't, that damn high as far as where we were supposed to go with this franchise, or at least what I thought. We didn't go anywhere of the sort, and I was very, very surprised. But let's get on into it. The reason I thought that we were going to really, really be something outstanding is because of these two. It's because of these two. This is a return to the OGs. This is Danny Boyle, the director, and Alex Garland, the writer. They wrote and directed the initial 28 days later. They had nothing to do, for the most part, with the second film.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, you guys are back at the helm of the film. Like, you've had so much time. I wonder what direction they're going to go in. Directing wise, just speaking to the directing of the film, there were kind of like the cutaways that I really didn't care for. It kind of felt like stereotypically what we get with zombie movies, especially initially in the beginning, very 2010s, mid 2000s. You'll have these cutaways to different world events that are actually happening, and we kind of splice that, but it's always at the intro. It's never like midway and completely through the whole film. So that was a bit much for me. um but aesthetically, I thought this film looked great. I thought this film looked so good. I love the way it looked. I always love a good wide shot. I felt like the universe was very lived in. I love the way that this film looked at night. I really enjoyed those moments as far as the lighting at nighttime, because I feel like we kind of throw that away because who cares? I thought the sky, like the cinematography of it all, I thought it was great. I love the way the zombies looked. Well, the infected, because we don't call them zombies here. I love the way that they looked. Like aesthetically, this was a joy to watch. Did I care for some of like the speedy, shifty cam? You can tell that Danny wanted to get back into some of those staples from the first film and not shoot this in this stereotypical way all the way down to the equipment in us using an iPhone, because I always wanted to be kind of bare in these gritty undertones. Is it the first one? Not at all, but I can kind of see what he was going for, and there was a lot to be appreciated. Now, was the movie actually great? Not so much to me, but I did like it as a directorial thing. I really enjoyed the lay of the land when we see the mainland versus us going in, coming out, and that scene where we have them kind of running for dear life, trying to get back, in between those gates. I thought that was well done. I was like, this all looks really good. I wish, where are we gonna go from here? And it was like, oh, we're going nowhere. But I'm not even gonna speak on Alex Garland in this writing. Um, we were going somewhere, Alex. uh as a complete story, 28 days later is kind of as complete as you can get. It's a very full circle story. This one, not so much. And I'm thinking that we didn't make it full circle because, for whatever reason, this is a trilogy. This is one of three films that we'll be getting. And I'm like, did you really need that? Or should we have maybe put a nice bow on this franchise? But I feel like the writing suffered from us wanting to have a continuation and go somewhere else because you had to expand it, versus us really getting here being cute and maybe even following up, with Killian Murphy and him. I don't know. I mean, that would have been my dream if we went over there with the people that we got in the first film, just to catch up and see where they were in life. But no, this is something totally different. Ashley, how did you feel about the directing style in the writing?
I mean, it was, gore is not my ministry, but I mean, it was fine. Like, I would think that that's what it would look like, 28 years in a post-apocalyptic world. Sure, that's fine. We revert back to a really primitive state of being. I was fine with that. I did think that once we get to Ralph Fiennes and his crazy mint there, I thought that there were some really, really gorgeous scenes with these skulls and just his surrounding, like what he had kind of created this world of, kind of in his delusion, covered in iodine, and then him in contrast to that. I liked
Mhm.
some of that, and I even like the idea that we've reverted back to a simpler time, right, in order to maintain. I'm just really, really disappointed in the storytelling of it all. Like I said, this just feels like such a departure from what I've gotten in the first two movies. I'm so surprised that they had nothing else to do with 28 weeks later, because I still felt the same spirit behind it, in terms of the fear, in terms of, oh my goodness, we have this desire, this eagerness to live, and we're even making, halfway decent choices. Over here, I just felt like this was shock and awe. I just really, because it just, from the beginning, me taking my 12-year-old son out into the wilderness on a Saturday afternoon just because knowing the threat is real and still very present was insanity to me, Tyra. It didn't make any sense for people who'd lived under a zombie regime for all these years to be just taking wild chances for nothing. So for that reason, for me, that lost it. The writing, the storytelling of it all, it didn't sell me. Something can look good, but it's still trash. So
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm trying to figure out why we're not live on my channel.
'cause you're still waiting, right?
Yeah, yeah, it does. I don't know why.
Can you
I,
reset restream or
let me see. I don't even know where.
like go back out to the main page and re-enter the studio again and
Let
see
me
if that
see.
works? We can
I'm
pause for a
somewhere.
second.
Let's see.
Not from watching the trailer. I already decided I wasn't going to watch this. Yeah, we watched it all together. Some of the movie was confusing and convoluted, easy to become sleepy and interested. I never like zombie movies. Walking Dead, not my fave.
Mm-mm.
You're still not active?
No, I don't know. This has never happened before. It's so odd
Never ever.
because I have to be um,
Live because you're
live.
hosting.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
But
I don't know what to
can
do.
we both exit and leave and then restart the live? Or is that not going to work?
I don't even know if that would if for that we would have to like exit, leave. Like I think I would have to delete this
Oh,
altogether.
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no. Do you think it'll be there after we're done? Like
I
once we
doubt
end it,
it.
maybe
I
it'll.
doubt it. And it's fine, I guess. I don't
Girl, I'll
know.
send it to you. You can post it.
Yeah, I'll just upload it or something. But that sucks. Let
It
me put y'all
does.
comments back over here on the side. Cause I was looking, I was like, this has never happened. And I'm paired. I don't know. I don't know what to do. But continuing on, y'all. Well, thank you guys so much. Guess I should drop a comment in the chat. Like, join me over here on Sweet Perspective.
Thank you.
Join me on Ashley Sweet Perspective. Um, but I think we already know this, but I'm gonna ask anyway, Ashley. As far as the three movies that we've had thus far, where does this fall for you? And like I said, they had nothing to do with 28 Weeks Later. That was, independently of these two directors, but they did, however, direct and write the first film.
Last. This is last. My ranking would be weeks later, days later, then years later. My personal opinion. I ain't like Killian's micropene. That ruined it for me in the first one. But I enjoyed 28 Weeks Later with Rumpelstiltskin over there. I thought 28 Weeks Later was solid, and I just watched that freshly. 28 Years Later was trash. Because in 28 years, this is all we've come up with. No.
It's definitely gonna go in order as it falls here as releases. 28 Days Later is definitely gonna be first. 28 Weeks Later is second, and sadly, 28 Years Later at this point is dead last. Like, and it's almost no comparison. And it's crazy with how much they've advanced as far as writers and directors and the other projects that they've worked on to even get to this point and come back to this franchise and decide to go in this direction. It does not stack up to me like at all, and it's crazy because the budget's bigger, directing wise. Like you guys expanded writing,
Yeah.
the visuals, the budget for gore and effects, like it's all like up there, and it's not holding a candle to 28 Days Later for me, unfortunately. And that opening for 28 Weeks Later is always going to be goaded.
Mhm.
Always going to be goaded. But let me keep going here. Ciao. I'm really curious to know how that happened.
Me too, because I'm over here looking and it's still just
It's just sitting
crazy.
there. I'm so like, restream, don't be cute now. I keep refreshing it, like thinking something's gonna happen. But speaking of the opening, now they did something different with the opening here. I am used to the opening having a tie-in immediately to what's going on or the characters that we fought, what they were following. But that first film, we have the just the infected. We have the chimp and the virus getting out, and don't open that, and of course the idiotic lab assistant or whoever that was. She has to open it, and of course we have the outbreak, and we wake up with Cillian Murphy's character. Goaded, absolutely, because everybody will rank that probably as like one of the dumbest decisions made in a horror film. Like, girl, why would you unleash that? I think no, it was someone like PETA or like an animal activist. Let the chimps out. I was like, hell, but they're infected. And then we have baby Rumpelstiltskin over there, and that is not the man's name, but if you were in those Once Upon a Time streets, then you know why we're calling him Rumpelstiltskin. It is so good. It is so good. It is one of my favorite openings ever. Like, it's so good when he's like, done. Done. It's like, girl, ain't nobody tell you to go run after that damn boy. Girl, I gotta close these doors. Close them doors. I gotta leave you here. And he goes off on the speedboat and it's, oh shit. Oh shit. I almost died. Like, it's so good. Just that running in that landscape is grand. And once again, we're following him. The first one, we're following Cillian with this outbreak and seeing what happened because we let the ship out. So when we have this blonde haired boy that we're meeting, Jimmy, and they're watching the Teletubbies, and there's this instant outbreak which he runs in this church to this is actual father, not a father, not just a priest. This is Jim's actual dad. Like, dad, help me. He's like, no, he's seeing this as in a biblical sense and a sign. I want to let the zombies infected take me, but yeah, son, you go and be safe. So from my perspective, I'm like, okay, so we're gonna follow little Jimmy from this point on all the way up into this village. That is not what we did here. Now, actually, as far as I guess gore and setting the standard from you freshly coming off of 28 weeks later, how did this go for you as an opening? And did you have an expectation for us to follow Jimmy?
Yeah, that's not who we were following. He wasn't a daddy all them years
No,
later.
no,
Oh,
actually.
tell me something. Yeah, no, that would have definitely been the expectation. Girl, I thought I saw the cross and everything. I don't know. Maybe it was my mind. But yeah, I absolutely would have thought we would have followed a succinct storyline as far as the girl. I thought we did. Was over there with him as a grown man, and now his family and what the impact was of that. But I guess we just transported 28 years later to a settlement of people. Girl, I thought he made his way. He traversed and he got over there and he was a part of the community, child. That's what I thought.
That's what I'm
Anyway,
saying. Well,
raggedy.
how did you like it? Like the blood and the church and the take me and the outpourer of the infected coming in.
That
Like,
felt
how
like
was
a
it?
callback. That scene felt like a callback to the first one, right? Because we do
Yeah.
have that church scene, and I was like, okay, that's kind of neat. But again, I wasn't moved. This does not compare to 28 Weeks Later under any circumstances. Because when Rumpelstiltskin said "F them kids," hopped in that boat and went on about his merry way, I said, yeah, that's realistic. That's what we would do. I didn't really care about any of this. I mean, and I maybe what they were trying to do, and maybe how they were trying to bring it full circle in hindsight, was this little boy embarking out alone. And at the end, of course, we see Mickey doing the same thing. So maybe that was like the correlation. But as far as an opening to get you hooked in terms of a story, I wasn't set. The only reason I'm set for this movie is because I just watched 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, if I can be fully honest with you. The priest though had potential. Must admit, I was like, oh, are we going midnight mass style? Like, okay, like I kind of, like, all right, I'm here for that. He's drank the Kool-Aid. Like, all right.
I was like, that one Jimmy.
Girl, I thought that was Jimmy and his son Mickey.
No,
Child.
that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you guys set this up and then I assume, okay, we're 28 years removed from this moment. This is, little Jimmy, and he's a
All
father now.
right.
No, that is not what that was at all. I will say for an opening, I did like the callback to the priest in the church. I got that reference well. That great scene where we have Killian running around. Is anybody here? I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna go to the sanctuary, and it's like, no, we're all infected. Really great moment. Gore wise, it was great, but I just knew that we were going to be following little Jim Bob, and that was not what this was. So I was like, what the hell?
Could have fooled
I
me.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that. And I'm going to tell you the tie-in. You're going to be like, what? What? Because I didn't know you didn't know it was him.
Girl.
But even with that, and I didn't put Father Jimmy here as an accident. It's supposed to say Jamie, y'all. The dad's name was Jamie, not Jimmy.
Oh, see, that's what they were
Um,
trying to confuse us. Because damn it, why would you make it that close? Why would you make the names that close? That's why I thought it was Jimmy.
oh
Oh,
man.
that's crazy.
But we get here, and it's a quarantine situation in a rites of passage moment. We have this very sustained, self-sufficient community of islanders, very secluded and safe. So it's like, well, hell, unless we going out to pillage and gather supplies or whatever, and even though there's a mention of this is how we get the supply for our gas, baby, I ain't leaving the state. I don't want to open. I don't want to. Like, it's unsafe. But this isn't more so about a supply run or anything. This is a rite of passage from what looks to be only boys. And once we hit that tender age of 14, we have to go out and have this coming of age, like ritualistic ceremony and catch a couple of bodies. And, we're not coming out to get you. You're out there, you're on your own accord. If you don't make it back, that's just what it is. But every single boy at this ripe age has to go out there immediately, child. They are outgunned, outnumbered, and unprepared. This made Father Jimmy look like a fool because I was like, Lord. From a visual standpoint and action wise, this was my favorite portion of the movie. This was my favorite portion of the movie. I really like getting to see their dynamic prior to this because immediately we're like, okay, what's wrong with mom? What's wrong with mom? What's going on there? And then once we have them go out and we're just kind of left at the mercy of dad, it's just crazy how self-contained they are, that the goings on here are just all casual. It's just all casual. Like, our lives are at risk. We don't have no arrows. We're approaching up on pretty much territory, and we'll get into these new and improved alpha like zombies, but infected. But it's a really intense moment because you really don't know where we're going. But we know one thing above all else, baby, little Spike is scared as hell. He's scared as hell. He's conflicted. He knows he has something to
It should
prove,
be.
more so to the community and to my dad. But I don't want to look weak, and I want to be able to handle myself. But dad is walking us into some situations that are extremely unsafe. But I did like how this looked narratively, visually. I like the pacing here. I thought that this was the best part of the film. Ashley, what did you think about this community in the rites of passage situation?
Girl, that's dumb as hell. And every time we're in a movie and we have a crazy woman, an old man, a crazy man, anytime we get beware the eyes of Dan March, listen, this lady said, you're not taking my baby out there. What are you thinking? It's dangerous. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It won't be fine because we got the warning in the first couple minutes of the movie. I think this is stupid. I think it's stupid as hell. This is not 300. We're not making gladiators. We're not making, damn Dothraki soldiers. This didn't have to be. So it pissed me off, Tyra, because why are you here, Ike? There, you didn't have, but this was not necessary. We did not need to be here. This was not the time nor the place. And my thing is, we know there's a real risk. And it's like, no, that's the fun part of it. Get your bow and arrow out. This is how you shoot. This is how you do that with some lambs in the little fortified city that you have. Let's not go out there with these bloated creatures. I will say visually, there are scenes that were absolutely stunning. I do think they did a great job as far as these new and improved infected bloater looking creatures. I was like, oh, okay, wow. I mean, it looked really like real and gritty. Like, this is what they would look like if we're out there. And, I'm a fan of like the Irish countryside, all of the greenery up against, this kind of, and again, we're going back primitive. So all the time I am thinking Vikings, I am thinking Last Kingdom, I am thinking those things, which is fine. Like I said, pretty beautiful gowns. Like, but as far as the story and this rites of passage, I just don't believe you do this. I don't believe you do this knowing that there's this risk out there unless it's mandatory. Like they said, this when you get old enough, you'll be getting fuel here, you'll be hunting here. Okay, let it be for that reason, not for a silly, let's be a man moment. It's dumb.
Man with all the strength of. They say this is our mysterious as the dark side of the moon, Ashley. I didn't
Girl,
mind this because
I'm fully
it was
wrestling.
kind of showing us just how primitive things had become and how this community of people, we were so kind of regressed as a people that we are going back to the more so primitive way of thinking. And this is the voyage that we do ahead to become a man. And no, we don't have, weaponry. No, we got these bows and these arrows, and we're left just kind of to the lay of the land. It was very tribal in a sense. So I didn't mind this. But do you want this 14-year-old out here, as terrified as he was, especially on the limb of Daddy Jamie, who was, oh, have you been out here before? And then to even get this, what made this like kind of sad in the after effects was this was only here to have a recollective moment when he tells Spike that story when they're hiding in the attic about the doctor that I saw once. So just so he could go back and ask Grandpa about it, and then we could in turn, get it was just like ABC writing. I was like, y'all did all of this so we could just
That
reference this mystical doctor, and we were just terrified. And we never go to that part of the land where those flames are blowing, because that's where he who shall not be named lived. And yeah, I wish it wasn't just for that, but at the end it did sound like that, but it was like, boy, do you know we could die out here?
that's a
Do you know
major
we got
plot device to get us there. When you knew your mama was crazy and they been knew the doctor's name, it feels like that could have just been a dinner conversation.
girl, do you
All
know we
right.
got 30 minutes, but open them gates. Open them gates, child. This was great. Like I said, I really really love this scene. It looks so good. It looks so good, and you knew something was coming. Even those weird ass sounds. I was like, do they control the crows, or can the crows infect you? What is going on? Like, why are they in sync? But I guess it was just for visuals. But this the moments that we realize that we're not dealing with the previous infected and this is a whole new beast, and it really got primal to where it was giving tease of like apocalypto and like predator, like the whole snatching of the whole skull all the way down to the
It was
spinal. That's
fun.
it was like, oh, okay, come on, predator, y'all see me, where's Arnold? Have him come out and rub some mud on his face. This is great. I loved all of this. But as we get here, by the skin of our teeth, and it gave like this terror, because it was like, baby, if this is just one of them, what if a whole bunch of them rolled up? Well, we all barely shot this one down. I thought we were really going to be cooking, because at this point I didn't know where the hell the story was going. I didn't know where it was going. I thought we were still in the guise of Jamie and Spike in this journey of it all in this land. But we make it back, and of course we make it out to be more than what it was. Oh yes, my son. That like, Bill, y'all barely, you barely survived to get here. But it's the drinking, and we knew you could do it, and the hip hip hooray of it all. And Spike is still just as terrified and indifferent about it, because Dad, I didn't prove anything. I barely could hold my own. I couldn't shoot straight. I didn't do well, but we're not going to say that out in public. Bottom line, that don't mean nothing now, because Zaddy over here is sneaking and cheating and dipping and everything. And we have this story shift completely to where it's all Spike. And do you want mom to die? And why didn't you ever tell me about the doctor? And if there is a doctor and you out here with all your infidelity, forget that and forget the celebration. It's up to me and me alone to save mom, because grandpa said that the doctor could help her. I was like, what? Where we going there? I was kind of dismissive of everything once we went there. But actually, how did you feel about this moment when they finally made it back and we had the celebration, and no, you're cheating, and I'm heartbroken as a son and dad, and they had that little fight? I was like, what? What? But yeah, from this point on, it's Spike.
Girl, you know they have to do that. We see that it's a tale as old as time. They're going to do something to put a rift between the father-son bond that they just had. We'd survive together, son. And now I see that you can't keep your dingling in your pants while my mom is crazy as a Betsy bug in here. And so now I have to hate you. And because we now have this hate and this severed relationship, I can go and do what I need to do for mom. You know what I mean? Because you don't matter. You don't care about us because my mama's crazy crazy and you had to get it on the side. But let's get into that because of all, like, again, I just think that people in a post apocalyptic world have morals and decency. Why are you out here slinging dingaling on the side of the building? You are eating musty medieval cat on the side of a cobblestone wall. How gutter
Actually, I
budget
did.
and low rent do you
Say
have
that
to
5 times
be?
fast.
That was diabolical work. And like I said, this was par for the course. Again, another convenient plot device. I think it's lazy. I think that was lazy. We didn't need the father son bond to be broken, just so that he would go on a quest for his mama. I think it was enough to maybe show the times that his mom loved on him before she went into psychosis or, got the cancer of it all. But yeah, I didn't need that. I think that was too close for comfort. I didn't like how we brought the infected back to our homeland. So now they know where we are. They know how to get there. I didn't enjoy it at all, and I didn't believe Spike. A Spike who was too scared to shoot an arrow at an infected is now going to go on a pilgrimage with his crazy mama, who he can't even trust to be quiet, and he's going to find the cure for her. Yeah, no, I don't believe it, Tyra. I just don't. And that was the thing. In the first two movies, it's believable. We find ourselves in untenable situations for whatever reason, right? We can believe that they let this little boy in the house because he's a little boy and I still have a heart and I'm a mother, right? We believe Killian because he was asleep and he woke up in the midst of a mess and had to get it where he lived. Over here, I don't believe you do these things. I don't believe it. I don't.
I didn't. It was so abrupt the way, and it was like instant hatred for dad. Anything you ever were to me before,
Over.
especially in these dire times, all we have is literally each other. That's it. And it's just like, oh no, Mom. Like when he pulled the knife, I see what the hell.
Sure.
When he pulled the knife on the dad and the whole, just go, dad, just go, get out. Well, first of all, slaps to the face. You don't tell me where to go. You don't tell me what to do. Like, do you want mom to die? What's wrong with mom? It there was a way to just make it all about mom's health and it declining. It could have
Hmm.
been that they just were dismissive of it as quickly as we saw that she wasn't all there, and when it was he was everything but a child of God before we even went on this journey. And it's just like, oh, I know I have to lie to mom to get her to lay back down. Oh, I'm just going to school. We're not, instead to be worried about like just lay down. It's just more so something that we're dealing with, and it's not, oh, we need to find a cure. It was never giving that. So I was like, what? So when we have him be so unequipped out on the land and we barely make it back with our dad, who has been out there, who has pillaged and probably fought, and if it wasn't for him I wouldn't have even have been protected in the little way that I was, even though our dad should have been more hands-on and a little bit more active with his eye, because did you not see
Hmm.
the skull and ball in there? Why are you bringing me into enemy territory? Get us out of here. um but there was no way in hell you ever expected me to believe that Spike was gonna get us anywhere. So everything after this moment, it was going to be something convenient for Spike to survive. I was
Hmm.
like, what? 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 I'm here for the manhood journey of it all, and clearly Spike is who we're expected to follow through all three of these movies because they made him the center focus. This just wasn't what I expected. And if we wanted it to be about finding mom a cure and figuring out what's wrong with her, we should have made that the point of the film from the beginning, and not 30 minutes to an hour in and we're already invested in you and your dad and seeing, the way I thought, this is what I thought.
What do
I
you think?
thought once we had that man get this close to y'all via that wall, and we needed everything from a 355 arrows, one that was on fire, um, a barrel, everything, and he was almost unstoppable from a moment. He got this close to the door. I was like, okay, that was one. Let's just say a rampage of y'all run up, and it's not as fortified as we thought it was, and we're gonna break. I just knew. I was like, oh, we about to cook. That's when we'll have him really get into the manhood of it all and his journey, because what I thought would protect us, it isn't. Now I need to jump into gear for dad and for mom. That's what I thought.
Mom,
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 mommy.
mom,
That's what
mom.
I thought. And it was just like, no,
Mm-mm.
no, we're nothing of the sort. Y'all thought we was going over there. We would never do that to y'all. And I was like, well, hell, if we're not doing that, then where the hell are we going? Thank you so much, Chuck, for the $5. Let me say this from a man's perspective. Every victory in battle should be celebrated. Sometimes that's best done with a stranger in an alley. Ciao.
That's what you have DSG for. Cut it out.
Oh man. And then it's like we have to make the
Thank
dad as
you.
shitty as possible as quickly, and not give him, any morale, like, oh, you're gonna cheat on your sick, cancer ridden wife in the apocalypse, and how could you? Yeah, you go off, Spike, and save mom, because he doesn't care. The quicker she dies, the better. I was like, that's not what y'all selling me. And if y'all expect me to believe that Spike is protecting a damn thing, you're out of line. But
Immediately.
we move on, child.
We
Then
move
we
on.
get here, and it still didn't get any better. It didn't get any better. This is when I was really done. I was so done when we met these soldiers. The moment I saw these soldiers, I don't know what I didn't read as far as the beginning, or I'm like, did I miss something when we had the statement of quarantine, blah, blah, blah? Because I thought this was the last of civilization.
That's what I did too. I thought it was the last end of days, the last of us, literally.
I thought that was everybody. So when we saw not just men, fighting, or just like, okay, maybe this isn't the last of civilization, but as far as like there's different, quarters and tribes of people defending their sanctuaries.
Hmm.
No, I was like, these are government official on the side. They got guns, and
Hmm.
okay, we're not as in a primitive as a primitive space as I thought.
Modern clothes, yeah.
So when I got Soldier Eric, and it was just like, oh, this is more so just kind of population control as far as this is concerned. On the outside world, baby, we're fine. There's technology. We're living life. Child, we probably working 9 to 5s. This is just here in this quarantine space. What? It almost gave like this is a choice. Where are we supposed to go from here? God, I didn't know we were gonna do that. I didn't know we were gonna do that. And even with that, and what Soldier Eric knows he's there for, you don't know or owe these people a damn thing. By the time he was carrying Mama on his back, I was like, what are we doing here? What is happening? And then we have Mom. The moment we get out, baby, she been, see you next Tuesday, and everybody yelling all up and through that home. Conveniently, when we get outside, because we got to get Mom to a cure and to that doctor, she's as quiet as a church mouse. She's quiet. She's conveniently quiet. I would have gave her conveniently quiet, because you know what? I was like, oh, there's going to be a moment where she loud as hell, and she has damn near a Tourette's moment, and all the zombies are going to come running, and we're going to really have to see what people are made of. No, not only is she conveniently quiet, but when we have a slugger roll up, because we wouldn't want it to be like a real, infected, and then nobody move fast, she takes him out, and her motherly instincts come in. Now, that's like a running theme for the mom. Like, she has these motherly instincts, and yeah, I'm going to protect my baby. That was some convenient hot mess. So between that the night before and when we wake up, and this is a moment for little Spike to fight and get them arrows together, because I got to protect Mom and get her to a cure and see what's wrong with her. We're saved by a gas station and Eric, and he coasts and coddles and carried it like he don't know or owe these people a thing. Matter of fact, I probably should have chosen and opted for something else. I ain't know. I'm trying to get back to my girlfriend, but this is my cell phone, and it was just a mess from that moment forward. By the time she helped the zombie lady deliver a baby, all right. Um, I have a separate slide for the zombies of it all, or the infected. I'm saying zombies because Eric said zombie. As far as this franchise, it's almost like a bad word to call them zombies. People get really defensive. It's infected. Um,
Infected.
yeah, I was done with the story at this very moment, because you're not going to give me Soldier Eric, and you're not going to give me Mom conveniently being quiet and conveniently snapping into to protect her son. And you're not going to give me conveniently the most quiet baby I've ever seen. I say, oh, this is the baby from A Quiet Place. They clearly doped this baby up. And he's quiet because, baby, why aren't we crying? But it was all weirdly convenient. Ashley, everything is fine outside of this quarantine.
Is it? Yeah. I just when we still got to scroll on Instagram and see his girlfriend, Eric. What you showing me this for what? You see, I'm out here ragged. Look at my mother. Like we're fighting for our lives, but not clearly because apparently the route they took didn't have many infected on it. So I mean, we were fine. We were skipping through the field, rubbing the flowers, sniffing daisies. Like I just please, please, please. And then we have a moment of Spike in defense of this unborn, for whatever we know, zombie or infected baby. And he with his bow and arrow, and Eric with a machine blicky. Like, we're supposed to believe this? No. And she got sense all of a sudden, very convenient sense. You have the wherewithal to deliver a baby, cut the umbilical cord, hold, and then protect said baby, miss.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Mm-hmm.
pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. In the words of Judge Judy, Tyra, I'm barely over here anyway. I'm barely over here in these horror streets anyway, and this just takes me completely out of it because I don't believe I don't believe it. Again, that's my problem. There's only so much suspension of belief you can do, and from a franchise that made things really believable, if we were in an infected apocalypse, to come over here and we're moving, it feels like with frivolity. Because what was the point of Soldier Eric and the girlfriend? I'm never gonna get that. Why am I showing you this? Why are you carrying her on your back? Oh yeah. That was that like for how many beats are we doing this? Do you have a transport? Why is an offer not made to get me and my mama?
Yeah,
I don't know, Tyra. It just
that's where I was. I was like, baby, while we're here, if we're as much as they were trying to have this tongue in cheek, like I've never seen, a phone. I've never seen, oh, look at the filter and the makeup, and oh, on the land, the girls or whatever. There's that. It's like old versus new, even though Spike is all of 14. But Spike has enough sense to know if Soldier Eric is advanced in however many ways, and you're telling me there's something outside of this quarantine, can you get me and mom to the
moment.
to the unquarantine? Can you get my mom some help? Can you tell somebody to send, like, who's picking you up? Because they left you here. Somebody's gonna can they come? It was just like, no. Oh, I don't know you from a can of paint. I'm really mad that I wasted, bullets and other things on you, this gas situation at the gas station on you. But I'm gonna help you and carry your mom to Timbuktu just because I'm that good of a soldier. But then we're really not, because at the first opportunity of you not doing exactly what I say, and if you don't step the hell away from that infected lady and her baby, I'm gonna kill you. Drop the baby. And at which, we know what happens with him. But yeah, we have this baby, and it's just like, oh, the baby isn't infected. And then I think, is she the Ellie? This baby's a Ellie.
That's what I said. She's baby Ellie. She's an anomaly. She's got the cure. She's got the
She's the
vaccine for the
cure. But
disease.
that's what I'm saying.
She's
Like,
the
I
cure.
thought the cure would be in place if it's like this is the last of humanity that's left. But Eric said we out there, eating at
Chilling.
restaurants, getting Amazon packages, making babies, having, care. And we're living
License on the
everyday
ground.
lives. No, I don't know. But let's get into the infected of it all, because what now, baby? We had a lot of infected running around, but I mean the infected. What's going on? Why y'all got this man junk in our face? I was like, well, damn.
Baby, that was an elephant trunk. That was more than a third leg. That was beefcake to the maximum. And that was not even in Homo erectus status. That was just on lean. I had to go and find that man on the Instagram because now it was probably a prosthetic. I mean, but
Was it?
maybe it wasn't. But maybe it was. I had to go and see for myself because I've never seen anything like that. And who was that for?
I haven't.
Why did you just sling unbridled, unmitigated dingling in our faces? It was massive, massive,
Now,
massive.
as Ashley stated, we did get different sets of infected. We had the sluggish, slow moving, bloated from the water infected. And then we had the more so emaciated, kind of this different infected that maybe hasn't evolved so much, and we're not, more so kind of forward in our thinking and having some sense to be more agile and strategic with our kills and even protective once we get into something like a baby. Because as soon as that pregnancy happened, and I love how I guess the infected was going through labor pains. I guess she wasn't hungry and is infected at that moment. She didn't try to. She just was
Yeah.
delivering. I expected her to be clawing at that woman, but I was like, okay, if we're forward thinking enough to be calculated, be territorial, hell, at this point, start families and homes and make babies. Maybe leave that baby there, or you're going to be subjected to this man following you to the ends of the earth. We're protective in that way. So we have all of these different infected. This particular man here, they were sure to put him in our face a lot. All of him in our face, and he was the alpha. And it showed, and it was like, oh, okay, we have a different type of infected, and evolving to the point of it's like, are we coming back full circle and getting back to some type of humanity? And it kind of feels like caveman operation day one zero. And I'm like, are we getting into a conversation of humanity and what life really means, and do we need to take out all the infected, or is this just kind of a restart? Because they're getting there. We're getting all the other sensibilities and primal things down to know that we're impregnating a wife or a woman, and these are my children. Bring it back, bring my baby back, all the way down to the point of this baby coming out and the baby isn't even infected. So it's like, is this just a restart for humanity? At least that's what I got from it, even though, child, they barely gave me any of that. I will say for the effects, they were really good. Everything looked really great here. I loved how distressed. I loved the dimension in all of the infected, and we didn't just get one thing. And I even loved how hung little baby was here. But everything looked practical for the most part, and that's something I can really, really appreciate when we see so much CGI all the time. But the arrows and the blood flying and just the gore here, it was exceptional. It was great. That's why I was like, I wish this movie was good. Y'all have everything else going for you. But actually, anything else on the evolved zombie, the alpha?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to lean into. And I agree, somewhere in October, I was just thinking the exact same thing. With her pregnancy, it does give you this idea that they're not undead, but literally are just infected with a disease. And so they're yet still alive. I don't know
Yeah.
who that little man is up in the top middle slide, but it definitely gives Killian Murphy. And I said, they said he was going to be back in something somewhere. So I said, was that him? He's infected and he's still holding on. But no, I really wish we would have leaned into their evolution. We saw them marking territory. We saw them having boundaries for their land. We even see one who responds to the request of Ralph Fiennes' character. So I
Yeah.
was really, I would have been so interested in how you manage that, because as much as they have evolved, mankind should have evolved as well. And I just feel like that part was lacking with the little primitive society. But also now knowing there's this outside world, it makes more sense. I guess that just further goes into my disdain and dislike for the movie, because this isn't the first sign that we've gotten that they've evolved 28 years later when y'all are in that forest. It was like Daddy Jamie knew there had been some evolving of these creatures up to this point, and y'all still went out there. But as far as the
Mhm.
look of it, absolutely. I know they didn't wear loincloths. I know they weren't dressed. What I was saying was that his peen was so obscenely large. And in one, we got Killian's micropene. That's all I was saying. It was jaw dropping. It was outlandish. And
Right.
it was shocking for me. No, because I said in the comment, what do we think? They're going around in bathing suits? No, I don't think that.
Oh,
But I think that that was egregious and ornery. It was ginormous. And unless they wanted us to talk about it. That's what
yeah.
they did. They wanted us to talk about it. But yeah, no, I really wish we would have leaned into their practices, their
Mhm.
rituals, because clearly they're a
Yeah.
society now. They
Yeah.
communicate. I would have wanted to know more about that, and maybe that's what they'll do in these other films.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, are we leading into well, how much infected is still out there with the world still operating from what we hear? That's the only thing that kind of sets me off as far as what we're supposed to expect. But will it be like a battle for humanity? What who's humanity? Because we're
Yeah,
evolving and we're
yeah.
a forward thinking people, and we're also starting families. So will it be like a battle in that way? And we're sick of you killing us off, or will it be us bringing these people back into some type of human and humane consciousness, because they're having that fine line because we impregnated people, but will we be made whole again because little baby uninfected LE is the cure? Like, y'all have two more movies, so what are you doing with them? I don't know. It gave us more questions than answers, but like I said, they wanted to open up this world because they have plans for other films, and I'm like,
Mhm.
Lord, I wish I'll put a bow on it. But this did have some intrigue, but what the movie did with it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually said it was in our face.
It was. It was. I'll never forget
Abnormally
it.
large in our face. The
Yeah.
doctor's here though. We finally get. I was like, "Where's Ray Fiennes?" I know he was on the docket. I didn't know that he was out here and he was our man about town. But it's just as quickly as we get him. What did we do with him?
Nothing.
It was such a waste. I was like, y'all, do y'all know who y'all got? Y'all got somebody like I love him as an actor and what he can bring to a film. It just he has such an intensity to the way he portrays his parts. So I was like, ooh, let's go. I really thought that they were gonna lean more into who he is now. Now I'm sure prior to those 28 initial days, this was probably a brilliant, renowned, respected doctor, and I wanted to get to these elements and how society has shifted, has affected his brain, and him kind of going in and out of kookiness. We didn't get that. He's very
Mm.
sane in his own way, even in the way that he talks about these sculptures and what they mean. That didn't even go off into kind of uh, uh, hysteria, his insanity route that I would have wanted to take with him. It was always like it gave Circle of Life to me.
Mm.
And like, oh, this is remembrance of those who are lost, because even when we have that little moment of him collecting the bodies, and it's like, no, don't touch, don't, like, the people need to know that we were here. It's like a method to his madness, and it wasn't as kind of loosey goosey as I thought. And even in the way that he covered his body, of course, it was good, for a look and an image, against those
Mhm.
white in the
Right.
backdrop. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, she has cancer. We made,
Yeah.
and I think that's what made me mad, because I knew already that sometimes a mythical doctor is just that. And even if he was, a healer, or he was a doctor, with the means and the lacking that they have, what exactly is he supposed to do for your mother? But we're supposed to, know Spike. He's never been off the land. He doesn't know any better. Maybe he does think he will have some magical cure when he gets there to automatically fix mom. But we knew that he wouldn't. But there's just, we discussed the skulls, and there's a mercy killing, and that's literally it. We literally do nothing with him. We do nothing with him. And we conveniently halted because he's so familiar with the infected and how they move as a people. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna subdue him. This does the trick. And of course we have him come back because I want my baby. But we do nothing with him. And I felt like that was a choice. Mom is gone though, and we put her skull at the tippy top of the structure. Ashley?
Mhm. Here's the thing. When you have he who must not be named, literally, you have Voldemort over here. Literally, he needs to be diabolical in these streets. What's wrong with a mad doctor who's living with all of his skulls and making ritualistic sacrifices to the
Yes,
damn zombies to get the
yes,
little bounty? Like, do I have
yeah,
to, must
yeah.
I put it in a poem for you? Must I put it in a poem? That's all we had to do. That's all we had to do with Ralph over here. Make him utterly and completely diabolical. I was expecting that. I said, oh, he sacrifices people. That's why he's got these Tower of Skulls. I said, oh, yeah, they're on the list. You're on the menu. You're for dinner. I just knew it. I knew they were going to have roasted baby in there that night, and they didn't, Tyra. I just said, well, it was good. It's good to see you, Ralph. I adore him. Outside of Harry Potter, he is quite an accomplished
Oh,
actor with a huge filmography. Um, but yeah, I wanted more, Tyra. I wanted him to be that one rocking by the fire. Like I
girl, crazy,
wanted
crazy,
all of
loosey
that.
goosey. Nothing. They do
I wanted
nothing.
him
I
to
was
visit
like,
the
ooh,
island of Dr. Moreau. I wanted
girl,
that. I want you the
girl. I
I
thought it
wanted
was gonna
that.
be apocalypse now over there. I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna like save my mom. This is when, because so far up until this point, everything has been in Spike's favor to where he really didn't have to take too much action on his own as far as their survival. I was like, all right, ha, it ain't even gonna be, an infected that gets you. It's gonna be an actual man, a human. What is humanity? Okay, we're here. He's gonna, yeah, oh yeah, come on down. Uh-huh. Yeah, how you think we surviving out here? Yep, I'm eating people and everything. I just knew, and it was like, no, I'm actually very sane.
Very same.
Yeah, I'm gonna, take the skin off the skull and even the little soldier Eric and add him to the, but it's like they need to know what happened here, that we were
Here.
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 But I'm not crazy. No. You actually have
Mm-mm.
trouble. You have cancer and there's nothing I can do for you. Sorry, ma'am. Like he was very close to take two and call me in the morning. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Why is he so sane? He's been out here alone for how long? Are you
Mhm.
serious? Yeah, I did. When he rolled up and it wasn't like initial rage and attack from Alpha Daddy Zombie, even though they had the baby. I thought it was like, oh yeah, we have an understanding.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, it was none of that. The little iodine is gonna just sedate him or whatever. But yeah,
Mhm.
I don't care either way. I'm just here to make these statues, and I just go
Always.
unaffected and unbothered. And I guess if an infected gets too close, I just shoot him with a shot. And yeah, what?
Away. A waste. A
Waste,
waste.
waste of time, waste of time. But yeah, like I said, it was this full circle. There's beauty in death, and you go forward, Spike, and take this baby. And I need you to take me away and kill me off in secret away from Spike because, girl, what? I didn't like this. Do better.
Yeah. What'd you think of the fire burning the flesh off the skull? He had a whole process. He said, "Let me throw it in there and take it out
That's
and
what I'm
stick
saying.
it
I
back
said,
out."
this is, and there's no way you can be out there for however many years doing that and not go insane.
That's what again. I said maybe he presents it. I was waiting the whole time for the other shoe to drop. I said, "Oh, y'all are sacrifices." I'm telling you, you sounds like
Your
turkey tonight. Like,
sacrifices to the 28 years later deities, and this is why I can go
mhm,
here unscathed, and I have this understanding. Even the infected
yeah,
know we don't go there. He's
exactly.
actually
You
going to
know,
supply us with meat too. Yeah, as evolved as they are, who knows? No, I'm
it's
just regular old doctor, and nice to meet you. It's nice to have company over. Have a seat.
yeah,
What?
I'm asked.
It was disappointing. It was disappointing, but let's get here. Now, this was wacky, 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 wacky. After we have little Spike take the baby, we are just assuming that he's realized at this point there's no help or no cure for mom. And I know, a different meaning of life. And myself, even I don't buy that. I know what it is to be a man now. I protected mom. I made sure that we were okay up until a certain point. I've stepped into, that manhood like I wanted to, and the opportunity that I didn't get in the beginning of the film. Now we can go back home. No, Spike drops the baby off with a little letter.
Mm.
Says, the baby of a zombie that's not infected. Take care of her. I'll be back when I'm back.
When I
And
can get back.
dad runs out like, Con, no. Okay, go back, dad. Go back. Yeah. There's that. Then we get here. Actually, this is Jim. This is Jimmy from the beginning of the film.
Girl, go.
Yeah, this is the tie-in. Okay, hear me out. Because I had to go figure it out for myself. So I was like, what are we doing here? Now we have not too many, I guess, remnants of before in toys as far as little Spike is concerned. But we do see that he has a Power Ranger. And we also have that reference in the beginning of little Jimmy watching those colorful Teletubbies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the blonde hair of it all was taking me out. I was like, why is this here? And why is his name? Well, not even why, but now that I know why, so okay, this is why his name is Jimmy. Now, if anybody knows about Across the Bridge and this man Jimmy here, I think his name is Jimmy Savine or Slavine, if I'm pronouncing it right. But he was very popular as far as child programming and television shows. Think, Won't You Be My Neighbor, Mr. Rogers,
Oh,
of his
okay.
time. But he was later found to be a PDF.
Oh my God.
And let me cook. It was, all these people came, out of the woodworks later on to say, we were on these sets as children and all these things, and he presented this in this space, but he wasn't a good man. But he was popular over there as far as, children's television. Um, so they took him and the idea of these Teletubbies, put them together, and got this. Now, we wouldn't automatically get this reference because we don't, if you're not from over there, I guess you wouldn't know. But he was, a found PDF. I don't know why we would take that here, but I think that with whatever year, with this being 28 years later, and how old Jimmy was, he would have known about this man and watched some of that TV along with these Teletubbies. So in Jimmy's little mind, the one with the cross and the priest and the dad, he went and formed this coalition of whatever, but it's giving cult. So for me, it was supposed to give getting into whatever installments we have later.
Mm-hmm.
Spike is going to have some loyalty to this gang because they saved me.
They
I
saved
was
his
out here in the
life.
middle of the road, yeah, I was outnumbered, and they came through like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that I idolized because I got that toy in my room, and they saved me. And I think that they're referencing him because Jimmy is a shifty character, just like this man in actual real life was. I present myself, it's colorful and it's fun and it's safe and we can fight and we're literally bouncing off walls like it's the goddamn circus. But underneath, this is probably a cult. This is probably twisted. He even has the cross in this scene, and I think it was upside down. So whatever daddy instilled in him, or whatever, even like the
Down.
craziness that we had, dad, it's all here. But with that being said, Ashley, how are you feeling?
I'm grossed out and disgusted. Honestly, this scene felt again like a completely different movie. I immediately thought, I don't know if everyone's seen it, but a Guy Ritchie movie called Snatch is who these freaking street urchins reminded me of. And then another part of me thought, like, I don't know, and it's a weird reference, but the Mad Max thing with like the local gangs that all had their little, commonalities. I was like, what
Yeah,
is this? I definitely was like, okay, they're moving with intention right now. They're going to save him for a purpose to later use him. And
yeah,
this epic quest for little Spike is so dumb to me. Boy,
yes,
you a man now, so you need this epic journey and quest. Unless that quest is to get out of said island and get back to real civilization, Spike, go home, Roger. Like, what are you doing out here? And then I'm looking at this picture that you have up here, and
yeah.
this man right next to the Power Ranger has the hugest bulge coming out of those pants that I've ever seen. I don't
I didn't even.
understand.
Ashley, how did you even see?
It popped out at me.
The images for this gang here were limited as it was,
Oh my
and I
God.
went
It's
I
just
went doing the
egregious.
extra to go find
I
it.
know, but I'm just saying, who is this for?
I just thought this was so peculiar and odd. Like, let me get Bookworm's super chat. Thank you so much for supporting Bookworm, who
Thank you,
said,
boo.
"No message, just support." Thank you so much. Please, please, thank you,
Thank
thank you.
you. We love you
Um,
for it.
I thought this was odd as hell because I was like, this was actually the first thing that I went to go look for because this was such an odd
You're like, what
ending.
is
And they
this?
came up, it was like Circus Olay out there. I was like, what is going on? And why are they so colorful? And it's like, oh, this is someone who has been also in this quarantine bubble and just removed from the events that we got in the beginning of the film, even though I actually thought we were following Jimmy the whole time.
I sure did, Jesus.
And it's like, these are the things I know. I was, kind of probably emotionally dented and stunted at this age. So I know about this Jimmy and what he meant to me on TV or even watching the Teletubbies. So I'm going to put all these things together as well as kind of religion and whatever mental state my dad was in to be so receptive of, yes, take me. And I'm going to start this. And I'm guessing that leading into the second film, we're going to get into Spike probably biting off more than he could chew. Um, what are we forcing, these people to do? Clearly, they aren't good. If we aren't using you for something, we're definitely trying to convert you.
Hmm.
But I was like, this is a long way to travel to get back to that.
Very.
That sounds, it sounds wonky with me explaining it. That's the best I got.
Well, thank you for explaining it because it's just
That's the best I got because when I saw it, I was like, "What? This is what y'all decided to go like? Why this?" Because he's a very like big pop culture reference that he was beloved there prior to those kids coming out and saying what he really was. And even with that, even if we wanted to use that as a reference to go where Jimmy is probably low down and a scummy human being, just like, did we need to bring him back into anybody's narrative? We don't want to, like, I had to, for me to know that, I would, and I'm sure people know, but people are going to investigate to see this. It's almost like giving him a platform. I was like, don't, because I know it wasn't just us. Everybody probably was like, what the hell is going on with the ending of this film? So
yeah.
that's going to leave you to go and try to retrace
But
why the blood locks, why the tracksuits, why they all colorful, and that in turns tell other people, who this sick man was. I just thought it was a choice. It's weird. It's
very
weird.
odd.
But that's that, Ashley. Ashley,
Yeah.
remember this is a trilogy. This is one of three. Is there any anticipation for the rest of the franchise?
No, absolutely not. I could care less. I don't want to see any of this mess other than out of pure curiosity or if we just are watching it all together as a collective. That'll be the only way they'll get me over there.
Yeah, I think that was the most disappointing thing was that this in no way left me wanting more. And if you thought the Ringling Brothers popping out in tracksuits and blonde wigs was going to make me go, it was weird. It was such a tonal shift. I was like, what is this? That didn't leave me wanting more or wanting to know. Oh, all right, Spike, you're really in it now. Spike looks
Mhm.
like an idiot. Like, and I know he's a kid, but there's nothing about him that developed throughout this film that made me invested in his journey because that's where we're
Yeah.
supposed to be. He's our main attraction. I could give a damn that they could have slit his throat
Mhm.
at the end of that movie. I would have been like, well, you should have took your ass home.
Yeah, it went out bad. Damn.
I don't know. I guess we'll
Mm.
wait and see. Maybe, like you said, pure curiosity because I really want to know why y'all made these choices and how it all comes full circle in maybe a third film. But am I looking forward to it? No. If they never release, I wouldn't care. But I'll watch it once it comes down the pipeline.
Yeah.
But y'all, that was 28 years later. Ashley, anything you want to say to the folks before we get out of here?
Don't forget tomorrow, Sex in the City, my first time watch, Tyra's rewatch. That'll be fun. We'll be doing that. That's a pay to play situation. Let's get through season 2, honey. Let's bust it down. And then on Friday, don't forget we have And Just Like That to follow up on your Sex in the City needs and cravings. And then we'll be talking Divorce Sisters and then collective news on Saturday. And of course, Blockbuster Movie Night for the members. Thank y'all so much for coming through and supporting us on both lives tonight. It means the world. And be on the lookout. Some new stuff dropped. Some new lives might be on the book. So just be on the lookout. Make sure you're subscribed and have the notification bell hit.
Most definitely. And y'all, it looks like I'll probably have to upload this as an individual video. And I was scared to delete whatever because I didn't know if it was going to do
Yeah.
anything here. So go and run it up and leave a comment as far as 28 days later on my end when I do upload the video, and hit
Right.
the like and show me some love, please. I would appreciate it. But yes, y'all, we will definitely see you guys next time, and everybody have a Teletubby good night.
Good night, y'all.